Hello, and welcome to episode number, however you want to go, number 19 of Down the Allotment, Second City Cottage. How are you all? As promised, here we are. Weather forecast did suggest that it might be a little bit warmer than it actually is today. However, fairly blustery in Birmingham, and it's not exactly freezing, but it's not particularly pleasant, and we are due rain in about 2 hours time, I believe. So I have come down here this morning as intended to try and sort out my blackcurrant bushes. Need to get all of the rubbish out from beneath them, and I need to really sort of go to town with cutting them back because they've got a lot of years of old growth on them. Now what I really want to be doing with that is trying apparently to get a sort of bell sort of scenario going on with how the twigs and stuff look. Not really sure how I'm going to do that. For a start, I lack almost any sort of sense of spatial intelligence and shape and artistry, and secondly, they are a bit nuts at the moment. I'll give you a quick video, we'll do a before and after. So yeah, that is today's. I want to get on with that. Any updates for this week? Rather excitingly, at work we have raised beds and a greenhouse and a polytunnel. My bosses there have said that we can get some, if we can get some funding and if I can price it right, we can turn that into a nice little bit of a kitchen garden, grow some herbs and spices, that sort of thing. And I'm going to try and push the idea of chickens to them, which would be absolutely excellent. So I've mentioned before, I work for Headway, Birmingham and Solihull, so we're a brain injury specialists really. We help people rehabilitating after acquired brain injury and traumatic brain injury. So it's like really cool activities for those guys to be out, especially in the spring and the summer, get outside, doing some digging, doing some exercise and sort of planning things. So hopefully we can talk my bosses into letting us do a little bit of a video around there, see if some of the clients want to have a little natter that can come on. And then really rather excitingly, I've been speaking to some of the other plot holders around here, and they've agreed to let me come onto their plots and do a little bit of a video here and there, you know, like special kind of videos or part of the vlog, and sort of see what they're doing and how they do things differently. A lot of their plots are much more beautiful and organised than mine, and then a lot of people have been on the plots here for quite a while. Also very excitingly, the guys with the beehives, I've said that we can do a video looking at the bees. So when they're sort of doing their thing, they're hibernating at the moment, we don't want to go and interrupt their sleep, but yeah, when that happens, when they're being more active, I'm going to hopefully do a video and we can do a little bit of understanding about our pollinators, because I think it's massively important that we understand more about our pollinators and the importance of them. Boom, there you go. That's on topic. And also stick around with me today, because once I've got all the weeds out and cut back my blackcurrants, warning for relevant content here, warning for relevant content, I am going to show you how I intend to enrich my soil. Again, it's not been touched for a long time, so I am going to do some enriching of my soil, so stick around. I don't know whether what I'm doing is correct, but I think it's probably a fairly good idea. So stick with us for actual relevant content that might actually help you in your endeavours for growing stuff. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll show you what it looks like now, and then I'm going to get down to it before this rain comes. I've come prepared with a nice hot cup of tea today, so I'll have a tea break and we'll have a natter and see where we're getting. Nice one. This is the area that we are looking at. I'm thinking these guys might come up because they were pretty horrendous last year, but we got lots of growth off these here. As you can see, they've all been left to really run wild, so I'm going to get in there and I get as much out as I can, make it look nice and tidy, then enrich some soil and get these bad boys growing well this year. That's the plan. And then later on I'm going to put a fruit cage around it. Not today, mind, but soon we'll put a fruit cage around it. I've got something at the back here, not sure what it is. I think it's just going to have to go, if I'm honest. This one sort of in the middle here, I think it's a tree of some sort, so we're going to get rid of that, and hopefully by the end of this couple of hours this area here will look a lot more pretty. Fingers crossed. See you on the tea break. Right, here we are then. Cheers. See, Gina made me a cup and everything. Second City Cottage. Before we move on, with that in mind, do go and give us a subscribe and a like and everything on here. I dare say the noises we'll be making, and give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Second City Cottage. All suggestions welcome for stuff that we could grow, help grow what we do grow, that sort of stuff. As I say, brand new to all of this, well, second year now, and with second year in mind and bringing forward our learnings, it's very naff here at the moment. It's getting very, very windy. It's got colder and the rain is just about to start coming in, so sadly I'm not going to get as much done as I wanted to do today here, but that is this time of year in England, I suppose. If you saw my time lapse, because I've tried doing a time lapse, you will have seen sort of what we got going on, and I'll do a little video in a moment. The guys in the shop, Mary, as they've gone, so what I wanted to do was put some bloodfish and bone down at the bottom. I was going to dig everything out and put mudfish and bone, then, which I will show you when I do it, and what I want to do is teach you hopefully how to enrich your soil. So as I was saying, that soil hasn't been touched for a few years. Last year I put a bit of compost on it at the last minute because it was when I first got the lottie. This year, in February now, what I want to be doing, and what I wanted to get done today, but I don't think the weather's going to allow me to, is, right, soil. I hear lots and lots and see lots and lots of videos, podcasts, etc, telling you what to do with your soil, and lots of them are different, you know. You get people who swear to it like it's a science, which I suppose if they're doing it for a living and stuff, then I suppose it could be. And you got certain plants that like certain things and others that don't. I hear different things every time. So what I am going to do this year, as hopefully a beneficial experiment, and which I want to teach you now, if you've got no idea, and if I am teaching Granny to suck eggs, please feel to skip on or laugh at what I'm about to say if it's completely tosh, is I've got a lot of the weeds out from there, a lot of the grass. I need to get it all out. I wasn't going to put bloodfish and bone down, but Mary in the shed says that it's fantastic, so I'm going to wait till next time to put all of this down, maybe early next week. Do you use that? Anybody out there, please feel to comment, drop me a message. Do you use it? Is it great? I'm told that the foxes like it, so I've got to sort of dig it right down, and apparently it's very good for the roots, organic matter, I suppose. What I'm doing then is I have some well-rotted manure on the site here. I've got quite a lot of compost, and thanks to my aunt over on my table over there, my auntie Karen, I've got a big bucket of chicken manure pellets, not fresh. Fresh is not very good for your soil apparently, but pellets is, and very good source of nitrates and nitrogen, that sort of stuff. And then what I've done is I've saved my eggs. my eggs from my cooking, not from my ovaries. And what I do is, once I've finished eating them, or when anybody in the house has finished with their eggs and cooked them, keep the eggs, give them a wash, put them in a tub, okay? Leave them till you've got a fair old whack. When you've got a fair old whack, make sure you're washing them, because they will smell a bit if you don't. Give them a wash, pop them in a canister so they're all dry, you know, Tupperware, that sort of thing. End of the week, end of the whenever, whack it all into a blender, coffee grinder, pestle and mortar, whatever you want to do. Grind it down, and we're talking turning it into a powder. We don't want sharp little bits, we want it broken down into a powder. Now, I've read lots of things about eggshells, and I feel like quite a lot of it is myths. I don't think it keeps slugs off your plants, etc. Maybe it does, I don't know. It never worked for me. However, grind it down to a powder. Now, when I come down and I'm going to put this sort of mulchy goodness over my blackcurrant bushes, trees, I'm going to mix the manure, the compost, I'm going to mix the chicken poop, and I'm going to throw in a handful of this. What the eggshells does, it's slow release, so it's not going to be an immediate thing, but it is slow release, which is nice. People sprinkle it on their tomatoes, dig it in with their tomatoes when they're growing. I'm going to put some in my chilies as well. So there you go. Exceptional tip there. You get it? Exceptional. Yeah, right. Dad jokes. I've got them. So as I say, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer, it looks like that's not going to get done today. I'm going to try and dig a little bit more out now. And then we're going to go home and we are going to sow some silver skin onions. There, I've got sets for my shallots and I've got sets for my onions, but silver skins are wee tiny little onions, and as they're growing you can pick them out when they're young to use them as spring onions, and more importantly for what we want to do is we want to grow them so they are ready for pickling. I'm going to sow a load of them. I'm going to sow some indoors now so they're ready to go, and then when it gets a little bit warmer, I'm going to sow some directly into the seeds. That means into the ground, sorry, and that means you've got a couple of crops then, haven't you? While the other ones are growing, you can pick those, and you've got other ones. Pickle a bunch of them. They're good for popping straight into stews. You can even freeze them whole. I got them off Premier Seeds Direct, not endorsed by Premier Seeds Direct. There's loads of places to get your seeds, but I got mine from there. I got a couple of little bags, and there's a lot of seeds in there, a lot of seeds. Look like typical sort of onion seeds, leek seeds, that sort of thing. Little tiny little black seeds. You're not going to go short with a couple of bags. I think they cost something like £1.50 or something like that, and it's going to get you an awful lot of onions. So we'll sow those at home in a little bit. I'll pop that on the video. There you go, more instructional stuff from down the allotment. But yes, that's it for now. I'll show you what we've done, because it has made a hell of a difference. Fairly emotional, if I'm honest, cutting those back. Cutting them back was like, they were my first grower on this allotment. They weren't mine to start with, they were already here. I couldn't do anything with them, I just sort of had to let them go. I've adopted them. I'm like Angelina Jolie to them. You know, I brought them up, and now I'm sort of just cutting away with gay abandon. They are just absolutely decimated, but I think that's what I've got to do. The thing with blackcurrants is you get darker wood and lighter wood, and now because these have been left for so long, a lot of it is darker wood. You can't really promote new growth with the old stuff still there, so I've had to really go to town on them. It looks a lot barer over there, and I might have actually had to sacrifice quite a lot of my blackcurrant output this year, but then hopefully if we feed them and look after them well and nourish them and talk to them and sing them lullabies, it'll grow back for next year, 2023, bumper blackcurrant crop. There you go. So yeah, I'll show you that, and then we will be back to the old cottage. See you in a little bit. I mean, the light is not perfect by any means of the imagination here, but I think you can sort of see there's gaps now between them. You see, this here is what I've cut away. Very, very drastic, I know. Some of them have sort of got the bell. Oh, blimey, the wind's almost blowing me over. We've got a little bit of the bell shapes going on, but there is space between them now. So I'm hoping that we can come up early next week and continue with this. This one here still needs to be done in its entirety, but the weather is now really rather horrible, and that's not what it's about really. I don't mind the cold, but when it's windy and wet and cold all together, it's fairly grim. So I am going to go back, have myself a nice cup of tea, a sausage sandwich, then I shall sow some seeds and show you the chilies. Actually, I might do a couple of replanting of the chilies to show you what's going on with them. Blimey, look at me, I'm almost becoming an educational force within the gardening world. Yeah, with my 100 dirty followers. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you back at the cottage. And just like that, as if by magic, we are back in the cottage. Gina and Lyra are away today. The weather outside now is vile, very cold, very windy, very rainy. I did about another 15 minutes of clearing around the blackcurrant bushes, and then I got in my car and hightailed it home. Want to show you a few things today. I want to show you what we're doing with the chilies. I want to show you what seeds we've got, and I want to sow some silver skin onions. First time I've ever done them. I figure I'm searching a lot of videos and finding out how to do stuff, and hopefully I can sort of pass a few things over to you, or it might be utterly wrong, so you know, don't hold me accountable. Very importantly, cheers, it's a weekend, have a nice cold beverage as we get on with these bits and bobs. So the first thing that I want to show you is, if I just pop my beer out the way, is my chilies. Showed you them the other day, but they are growing like crazy at the moment. Look at those. Most of these cayennes, we have some habaneros, and we have some nagas. Now, last year was the first time I ever grew chilies. As I said last time, this year I have put it in what I consider to be better compost, and they absolutely love it. Almost all of them have come up. Now, if you are a cayenne pepper such as this little chap here, right now I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm going to leave them in that pot, and I'm going to leave them growing. I tend to water from the bottom, so I put the water into the tray and it sucks up the water. I do put a little bit on top as well. What that does is it encourages strong root growth. Okay, so the roots come down. You'll want to move those on when the sort of roots are, you know, when you see the roots all around the edge of the soil when you take it out of the pot. That's what you want. Then you move it into a bigger pot, maybe another bigger pot, and then it's final home for the growing season. My home for them in the growing season is the flower pots that you get from supermarkets, which they bring all the flowers out, then they get rid of them, they recycle them. You can buy them from Morrison's, like 10 for £1 or something. Drill some holes in the bottom of it, that's where my chilies are going to grow. If, however, like these two, there were 2 seeds in here, both germinated, and often you'll get a stronger and a weaker. I just pick out the weaker one, but on this occasion, they're both big and strong. Okay, it'd be a shame to kill one of them off, wouldn't it? Really, I can't really do that. So what I'm going to do today with that one, and we have another one here, if you can see it. See, 2 strong, both cayennes, and another one here. See, the problem is if you leave them in the same pot, the roots are going to entangle and like that. Yeah, so what I'm going to do today is, I've got pots this size, so that's the next pot up that I was going to go to. So just by comparison, there you go, it's a lot bigger. You're going to get a lot more nutrients from the soil that way and grow. I'm not going to do any of the ones that are just in their single pots, because they've still got nutrients to take from that compost, but I don't want to lose plants there. So I'm going to move them across, okay? I'm also going to, as I said earlier, I'm going to do my onion seeds. So first things first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my chilli plant, yeah, and I'm going to empty them out. You just give them a squeeze. Often it will just start to come out, and obviously when I'm doing it on video, that's not the way that it occurs, is it? So there you go. Oh, it actually got a really good root. See the roots on it already? So you're just holding it like that, you see? And if you can see, there are quite a lot of roots on there already. So what you want to do is you sort of want to just pick them apart. Try and be a bit gentle, but you don't have to be mega gentle with them. This soil is just dropping into a tray at the bottom, by the way, if Gina's watching and she'll shout at me. Then, see, we've got one here, still just touching it at the base. See, you kind of want to keep a bit of that soil on, give it a bit of a shake so some of it comes off. And you can see those roots, look at that. These are really strong plants. Lie that down in the soil. Do the same to the other one. Again, there you go. I'm going to keep some of the soil on there. They don't really like being moved at this age, if I'm honest. You don't really want to do it unless you absolutely need to, and I just didn't want to lose them. I will leave them in the single pots. Moving up to a bigger pot, I've got a pot of soil down here. What you want to do is you want to fill your pot like so. Give it a push down, yeah? You want to firm that soil up a little bit. Don't, you know, it doesn't have to be hydraulic. And then you just want to make a hole like so, so you can, nice and deep, because the roots can go down, and you just want to drop your plant into it and then push the soil in around it so it firms it up. See, just like so. Your chilli is now in its new home for now until it outgrows its home, as all children do. And so into there it goes. Watering can, which of course for me at the moment is a milk bottle, single-use plastic. Give it a good water, really good water. Then I'm going to put him back under the light tonight, and he will be good to go, and he'll continue growing. Not going to do the rest of them with you on video. You've seen how to do one. If you want to watch it again, reverse and go back. Okay, I'll do the rest of them when we finish the video, and they'll be up in their new pots, up on the shelf with the lights. Maybe a bit of heat tonight, not sure. So that's that. Honestly, first year you're sort of doing it, you worry a little bit. You just get more confident with these things, so don't be scared to try them. What's the worst that can happen? You do feel bad if a plant dies. It's very strange. I felt very bad cutting my blackcurrant back earlier, but it happens, you know. We've saved one of those at least now, so they can move on. Brilliant. Okay, that's the chillies rehomed. Next, seeds arrived the other day. Just open them up. Let's have a look at what we got in and see what the plans are for them. So what do we have here? First of all, had COVID the other week, as I told you. One of my plot buddies dropped me off some tiny Tim tomatoes. How very nice of her. Keeps your spirits up when you're feeling naff. They're going to go in the hydroponics when the herbs are all up and running, which is really exciting. And what have we got here? For this year, we have got, first up, Beefmaster F1 tomato seeds. Not really sure if I'm even going to grow those. Massive tomatoes, but from what I'm reading online, you get lots and lots of foliage, not a huge amount of tomatoes. But the tomatoes that you do get are absolutely massive. You can grow them for giant ones. Kind of a mistake to buy those, if I'm honest, because I wanted to buy a sauce one and it doesn't seem to have the yield. Artisan Purple Bumblebee, 10 seeds. Beautiful stripy sort of purpley orange red tomatoes. Look fantastic. Never grown any of these sorts before. This is my first sort of venture into tomatoes. Last year I sort of touched base on them and learned how to do them a little bit, but didn't really do a lot in the videos because I was just learning. This year, why grow what you can buy in the shop for not a lot of money really, so I'm going to do some interesting ones. So those ones. Here we have our Roma tomatoes. They are great big juicy tomatoes. So I guess the most common for sauces and stuff and canning, and that's what we want to do. We want to grow a lot. We want to make tomato sauces, marinara sauces, that sort of thing. So that's the territory for them. Apparently very easy to grow, so we'll keep our eye on them. We've got our tomato indigo apples, 10 seeds. Tomato indigo apple tomatoes, should I say. They are tomatoes. Again, purpley, dark purple, size of an apple. Apparently incredibly tasty. We're going to give those a go, you know, nice and fun. Then we've got our indigo rose, more tomatoes. More tomatoes. I think that exhausts our tomato selling, our tomato seeding. Not going to do them until mid-March, I think we're going to sow them. I'm going to save some seeds because some of those have only got 10 seeds in, you know. So mid-March for those. Keep your eyes open for our tomato videos. The one that I'm really excited about this year, going to go in the poly, cucamelons. Cucamelons, if you haven't seen them, are tiny little cucumbers which are apparently quite lemony and limey, zesty, grown in very warm countries, but they do very well here in polytunnels and greenhouses. They vine all over the place and climb, and they're crazy apparently, and you get loads and loads of produce from them. So yeah, we'll give those a go. And what we're going to do now, I really wasn't aware that I'd bought 3 packs of them because you get loads in them. We have got our Paris Silver Skin, 4 gram bag that, and we've got 3 of them. So we've got 12 grams of Paris Silver Skin seeds, which I can only assume equates to a bloody lot of onion seed. Might take some into work and grow them there. The idea of these, we grow them, we can use them as spring onions, and we can then pickle them. We can grow them to bulbs and have pickles, and that's what I really want to do. I want to have pickled onions through the winter. Who doesn't love a pickled onion? We're going to do the pickled onions now, I think. So I've never done this before, so I'm hoping it's correct, but basically what I've done, I've got a tray. I'll put some good compost in there. It's not full, it's fairly shallow. It doesn't need to be full, I don't think, because they're not going to root very deeply, is my my sort of plan. We're going to, that's the cucamelon seeds, we don't want to do that. So here we go. I've pressed all of that soil down fairly firmly. And then what I want to do is I just want to sow them very thinly. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer of compost on top and give it a water. Then it's going to go on a heat pad in the airing cupboard to germinate. Okay, so from my sort of experience is seeds need warmth to germinate and light when they have germinated. So I keep mine sort of in the dark, out the way, and they germinate, bring them out, put them under the light, put them on the windowsill. These will go on the windowsill, they won't go under the light, I don't think. So let's give this a go, shall we? So here we go. These are the seeds, if you're unfamiliar with onion seeds. They're like tiny little sort of coal, lumps of coal really, is what they look like. Very, very small. As I say, there's not a lot of compost in it, it's very shallow. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take a few sort of between my fingers, if you can see this, and just sprinkle it down. Okay? No great art to it. Literally just sprinkling them around. Sowing them thinly. Some people I've seen putting them sort of into sort of little trenches and things like that, but we're going to do a lot here and then we can thin them out later. I'm sort of treating them the same as leeks really, and chives. I think some of these will survive and some of them won't. I think that's rather a lot in there now. So I'm going to put, no, I'm just going to sprinkle the lot on. There you go. That's the lot on there. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my soil, which is here, and I'm just going to break it down. It's not very lumpy anyway, this isn't, so I'm going to give it a little breakdown. Just give it a sprinkle over the top. Not a lot at all, okay? Just a little bit. You don't want it to get lost in there. And I'm sure there's people out there that do this very differently, and I'm sure they're a lot better at it than me. This is my first time of doing it. Little bit for luck. Okay, there you go. Then what we will do, this is the lid to my little germination sort of propagation thing. Give it a little press down to firm it down. What you're doing here is you're making sure that the seed makes contact all around. If your seed doesn't make contact all around, there's less of a chance of it germinating. Okay, this is already quite moist sort of compost, but we'll give it a water and we'll see what happens. I say this is the first time I've ever tried this. There you go, water. The lid on. If it goes on, there you go. And then that will go in a nice warm place on a heat pad until we start to see some life, of which, of course, I will keep you updated. As we are here, I thought we'd give you an update on the hydroponics. 1 week on, these were just little twigs last week, and now look at how they're growing. 2 different types of lettuce. Look, our chives are coming through now. That's our chive there. There's some more down in the sort of base of the sponge. But yeah, hydroponic experiment going very well. I feel like I can go on board the Enterprise anytime now with my hydroponics bay. So yes, just wanted to give you a quick show of that. See if you've got any questions or you want to talk about that at any point, just let me know, and I'll go and do a bit of a sign off. I think that's us then. We've hydroponicked, we've chillied, we've onioned, we have allotmented, we have cleared blackcurrants. I have told you about enriching soil. My gosh, that's a fairly busy old episode, isn't it? Right, that's it for now. I'm hopefully going to get down in the week to the lottie if the weather's not absolutely vile. Just now looking forward to the clocks going forward, and we can have some time after work to get down there. I finish work at about 4 o'clock, so it's nice. It'll be nice to get down there and get Lyra and go and do some digging and planting and sorting. It'll be nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, remember to hit that like and subscribe wherever they may be. Give us a follow on the old socials. It's at Second City Cottage on both Twitter and Instagram. Any questions, anything like that, please feel free to get in touch. Until next time, cheers guys.